Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have some racing here in the Xfinity Series at Talladega Super Speedway, as well as the Cup Series at Kentucky Speedway, where we get to make some upgrades to our car today on the Cup Series side of things for a Roush LeBron racing car, and I decided to upgrade the suspension to a 95 out of 100. So now all of our departments, at least with the actual concern of the car, with the power as well as the chassis and the suspension, are all at 95, which means 3 more upgrades to go, so that'll be 6 episodes for those. But then of course we still have more to go with the pit stop stuff, which will be I think another 3 episodes, so that's still 12 episodes before we can have this car fully upgraded. So it's looking like right around that, 22nd or so race of the season, we will finally have our car to the maximum potential where we can be competing for race victories and hopefully a championship at the end of the season. Now, we know it's going to be a tough championship to win in the Cup Series this season, more than our first one for sure, because we haven't had the luxury of building up playoff points throughout the season because our car has been so slow, and it's not going to be very much better tonight either at Kentucky Speedway, which is already a mile and a half that is tough to be successful at, and when your car is not fully upgraded, it's going to be even tougher to have a good run at. So we're just going to make the best of what we can tonight, and hopefully we can get a solid top 20 run at Kentucky. But here we were at Talladega in the Moneyland 300 with Daniel Suarez already well into this race, closing in actually towards the end of this race, and he had climbed up inside of the top 10 and gotten up towards the top 5 on the final lap here as he went down this back straightaway. Unfortunately, wasn't quite close enough to maybe pounce on an opportunity to go and win his second race of the season, but he goes 3 wide up the inside here. Natalie Decker on the very top, Alex Labbe in the middle, and Suarez got up to P4 out of turns 4. Down the front straightaway for the final time. You see it side by side up in front between Ray Black Jr. as well as Brandon Brown. Suarez tries to have an opportunity to make a move, but just didn't have enough of a run and enough room to actually do anything, so he has to settle for a third place finish here from Talladega as Ray Black Jr. picks up the victories. You check out the rest of the finishing order here, as in the very last spot you got Jeffrey Earnhardt and the Zero cars who come through into the Cup Series. Another scheme that community member of Vixen made, a UPS scheme based off of, I believe, a David Reagan car that used to be run back in the day, probably like 2011, maybe 2010, somewhere in there, I think. Looks really well on this Gen 6 Ford Mustang, by the way, but we get underway in qualifying with a goal of a 31.183. The lap was going okay right until out of turns 4. I actually got to the outside wall, just was pushing too hard there with the front end, and we got really tight, and we crossed the line with a 31.79 at 5 and end up qualifying P28 for the Quaker State 400 after banging the wall down there on the exit of turns 4. So I wasn't too disappointed with that considering where we were kind of looking. So that right side damage definitely didn't help us as we check out the rest of the qualifying order. Rounding out the top 20, you got Cole Custer, and then to round out the top 10, it's going to be Ross Chastain for Trackhouse Racing, and up front you got Lewis Hamilton, and again in the mix, and Chase Elliott on pole for Kentucky. Kentucky Speedway opened back in 2000 now, as it is no longer even on the real Cup Series schedule. Hosted its first Cup race back in 2011, and unfortunately, like I said, no longer belongs on the real life Cup Series schedule, but we get to race at it one final time for NASCAR Heat 5. As you see in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the track has a lot of elevation changes, to say the least, as it's definitely, it looks realistic, but other than the fact that it's a very bumpy track, so we're ready to go green here for the Quaker State 400.
Okay, I know you're not the biggest fan of this track, so let's just try to keep the car clean and get a solid finish.
Anything better than 25th here, I'll take, so let's have a good one. There you hear the conversation quickly between myself as well as our crew chief Latchon. He knows I don't like this track, and I've said it multiple times. We never really run very good here, even when we have a car that's a championship winning car. So wasn't really expecting the best race for us tonight. Kyle Larson failed optical scanning station multiple times. He'll be starting at the back of the pack. Kind of got robbed of victory in Road America in the last episode. He's going to try and back it up here today, but he hasn't been great on the oval so far this season, so I wouldn't expect much from him in that Brandt Chevrolet Camaro here, as we're on the inside right behind the 43 of Gutierrez as a green flag is out, and we are underway from the 27th starting position. I know we have a car better than 27th place. We're only down here because of that rough qualifying effort. We're probably closer to a 20th or so place car, so not a whole lot better of a car that we have, but hopefully we can step it up. And I just couldn't believe that when we managed to screw up qualifying and end up in the bottom half of the 20s towards 30th place, Joey Logano still finds a way to be around us. It's unbelievable how much he has been around us. No matter where we are, he finds a way to get beside us, behind us, and into turn 3. I knew what was coming, and sure enough, that 22 lays the bumper to our back bumper here now as we come through turn 3 and out of turns 4. We're able to actually hold on to it here, as I was just off the throttle fully there, letting him just push me and glide through that corner. And now he gave me such a big push that I kind of have to force the issue here. 3 wide into turns 1 on Haley Deegan, as well as Logano's teammate of Chase Briscoe. And here's another push from the 22 Pennzoil Ford Mustang of Logano. This time a bit too much. He got loose so on the exit of the corner, so he saves it and now actually stays behind me. And I was hoping he was going to just go around me on the inside. Didn't quite happen. Chris Buescher leading here on the first couple of laps of this race. Elliott on the pole, already losing the lead now as Logano fades in a little bit behind that number 21 Wood Brothers Ford Mustang driver of Anthony Alfredo. As we're on the inside of our teammate of Tyler Reddick here, trying to make a pass on him and that McDonald's Ford, as we're going to try and use this inside to our advantage. We should be able to pass this number 60 car, no problem here, as Roush LeBron Racing just overall slowly getting better, and hopefully we're going to see our teammates of Reddick as well as Christopher Bell improve as well as the season goes on, just like us here now. But on lap 4, after we had passed Tyler Reddick, he would actually have an opportunity to pass me back, so we dropped back down to 20th place, but we were still running half decently here. I would actually drop down to the inside because I could tell these drivers on the top were quite a bit slower, and I would get past the 48 of Alex Bowman and the 24 of William Byron. Now looking up the inside of that number 20 of Rajah Caruth. Chase Elliott at this time back out in front here of this pack, looking very strong. He is. McLaren still looking to get back to victory lane. They won earlier this season at Homestead, Miami with Eric Jones, who's had a rough stretch of races since then now, as we came through to the end of lap 6, getting passed by the number 11 of Ty Gibbs. And then here goes Anthony Alfredo actually passing me on the outside through turns 1 and 2, so we drop down into the 19th position. And then we have Josh Berry, last episode's winner, who really put us in a tough spot in the playoff situation because he is considered a surprise winner in that 98 Trackhouse car. So it was unfortunate really to see him win. I was happy for Josh Berry, of course, but at the same time unfortunate for our playoff situation, as we are now over 30 points below the cut line coming into this episode. Obviously, though, we're not even halfway through the regular season yet, so we still got a few more races until that point. There's a lot of time, a lot of potential for things to go wrong or right for our team. Now on lap 10, Kyle Larson, who started at the back, has passed us here for that 20th position, so he has worked his way halfway through the field and would continue on now as we came through to lap 13, still fighting with that 11 of Ty Gibbs in that Monster Energy Toyota Camry. We would get past him through turns 3 and 4, and we would hold on for 20th place here. Now, there was a car in the wall in front of us on lap 15. That's the 7 of Eric Jones for McLaren there, who has blown a tire. He is going to be out of the race on this first and opening stage, and fortunately, like we mentioned for him earlier, he's already won at Homestead Miami earlier this season, so he doesn't have to worry about blowing a tire, maybe having a big point situation kind of go against him. So we're going to come into the pit lane here for 4 tires. I actually put up the grill tape a little bit as well, thinking, you know what, we might as well just kind of add a couple clicks there because we still had a good 20 degrees or so to spare that we could get closer before we overheat. So now it's going to be just a 1 lap dash to end this first and opening stage here from Kentucky. Now as we are back underway, but that 66 of Sam Mayer doesn't go, and neither does the 2 of Ryan Preece. We can't go and pass them because that is of course against the rules of NASCAR. So now here we are dropping down the order. Logano is going to go through on the inside. Cole Custer and that number 29 Kevin Harvick Incorporated car is going to go by. William Byron in the 24, the 33 of Austin Cindrix to our inside as well. And here comes as well the 47 of Tony Bradinger. Buescher though leads the way down the back straightaway, but he's under attack from that number 38 of Todd Gilliland for front row. Now as they come through turns 3 and 4, it's actually going to be Gilliland taking the lead on the exit of turns 4, side by side for the lead, but it's going to be Todd Gilliland winning stage 1 over Chris Buescher. We come through to cross the line for a very disappointing 26th place finish here in stage 1, so not what we were looking for at all there, as that kind of caught us off guard on the restart and there wasn't much we could do, so that was very unfortunate overall now. So of course everybody coming back into the pit lane here, we actually can make it on field to the end of stage 2. They're just pitting kind of for insurance purposes, so I'm actually going to stay out. We're going to take a risk here, try to lead our first laps of the season potentially here, and stay out at the end of stage 2 because there really isn't a need to pit, so hopefully this will help us out here in the long run now as Todd Gilliland wins stage 1 in Kentucky. Back from Kentucky Speedway there as the sun is going down as we're ready for the start of the second stage here. It is time to get amped here in just a few moments time, but we gain 25 spots as we are now going to try to lead our very first lap of the season now as we're getting ready to be back underway from Kentucky here for the start of stage 2, and now it is time to get amped. falling down the order pretty quickly here at the end of the AMP segment here. The first 2 laps of the stage complete, and we just don't have the speed, of course, to be running up here with these guys. So honestly, maybe I should have just pitted so I wasn't in the way, nearly turning the 12 of Chase Briscoe. Thank goodness that didn't lead into anything right there. Do keep in mind, we are still on probation. This is our last race on probation, but we're doing a good job right now keeping ourselves out of trouble, and we are likely not going to get ourselves suspended at this point or fined, so we should be off of the probation at the end of this episode. But we have dropped all the way down to 14th place. Kyle Larson to my outside. There's a little bit of contact with him into turns 1. He's going to go up into the outside wall, actually. Saves it, thank goodness. Now as Sam Mayer goes by, the 11 of Ty Gibbs, the 18 of Kyle Busch, they're all going by, and we are dropping down the order like crazy now on lap 4. In front of us, Anthony Alfredo goes spinning, and that's going to collect our teammate of Tyler Reddick, and Alfredo brings the caution. Now he was up in the outside wall, clearly lost one of his rear tires. A caution is out, and everybody will stay out, of course, here for this pit cycle. So now we kind of hopefully can settle down here in 17th place and kind of get back into a rhythm and hopefully at least hold 17th place or even maybe move forward by a couple of positions. A couple of cautions so far in this race here, back on the inside line behind our teammate of Reddick. I didn't know how he was going to fire off here on the restart because he was just collected in that incident, picked up some heavy front end damage, but thankfully he gets going just with no problems at all now as Logano is trying to once again force us down to the apron here. Logano always causing issues for us here this season. Todd Gilliland back out in front. I'm looking up front. You're seeing Ross Chastain for Trackhouse up there in the mix. His teammate of Josh Berry just won for the first time in his Cup Series career in his rookie season as well. In the last episode at Road America, it was a surprise victory just by the timing of the cautions, and he had already pitted. He was able to get out in front and hold off a charging Kyle Larson as well as Ty Gibbs at the end of that race. Now as we got passed by Cole Custer, we now got the number 22 to our inside, the number 5 of Kyle Larson to our outside, as well as Kyle Busch. There was some contact with Logano. I actually initiated that contact right there because I saw we were about to be 4 wide, so I actually turned it to the left, and then I didn't realize the 22 was so close at that point. So that was my fault. Thank goodness it didn't turn into anything. Now as Josh Berry of our inside as well would get past us now as it came through to lap 10 down into turn 3 again of the inside of Kyle Busch as well as Kyle Larson here. Now as Larson got to about 20th place, and then he's really struggled to go forwards. I think he has a lot of speed in that car. He's just been kind of stuck in traffic now, as you can see him right now stuck behind that 11 of Ty Gibbs. 3 wide again with the McLaren of Sam Mayer and Larson. Chastain leading the way now with less than 10 laps to go in stage 2 as we're back up into 16th place here as we come through turns 3 and 4, but not for long because we got too much on the apron, and around we go. Out of turns 4, we save it, thank goodness, and oh, we are into the pit lane, and we're going to get penalized for speeding into the pit lane, so we end up going a lap down.
Just keep it cool here. Hit your marks.
I'm sorry, man. Just lost the car. A silly mistake from myself that I've made a few times before earlier in our Cup Series career at Kentucky, and now we're a lap down. We're going to get the lucky dog, so we just rode around for the rest of the stage, and Chase Elliott would actually come through in the McLaren Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro to win stage 2, as we were now, like I said, going to get that lucky dog, but now we have to go from 39th place all the way back up through the field. So a miserable day so far here in Kentucky. Everything is going wrong, it feels like, for this Roush LeBron team in the last couple of episodes. And like I said, we just got to hang in there because our car is getting better and better, and at the end of the season it's really going to pay off, I think. But very frustrating start to this race here in Kentucky. We knew it was going to be a rough night, but I didn't anticipate it going this rough so far now. So Chase Elliott, though, wins the second stage and his first stage win of the season here in Kentucky Speedways. We're ready for stage 3. Back from Kentucky, ready to go green for the start of the third and final stage here from the 39th position. We are back on the lead lap, so it's, thank goodness, an opportunity, a second chance for us to get ourselves in a good position before this race comes to a close, but we only have 25 laps to make anything happen at this point now. Chase Elliott looking strong today. He got the pole, he won stage 2, didn't win stage 1. That was Todd Gilliland in that number 38 front row Mercedes that won that one, but nonetheless, Elliott looking very strong at the right time here from Kentucky Speedway. Can he hold on to his first win of the season, though? That's the big question, and we're going to find out pretty soon now as we're up the inside that number 33 of Austin Cindric. Not a whole lot of time to waste for us. We got to get on that move right away and gain as many spots as we can. We don't know when any cautions are coming as well, because we've seen a couple of crashes so far here tonight from Kentucky in that Quicker State 400, and at any moment it could happen again. We could even find ourselves collected in it when we're especially this low in the field. So I was really trying to get a move on it here as quick as I possibly could, as we were 3 wide briefly there with the 78 of Haley as well as the 4 of Haley Deegan. Now as we go down into turns 3 up into 34th, 33rd place, and we were definitely slicing through the field a lot quicker than I honestly anticipated, because I know our car is still down on power, so I thought these were actually going to be really tough passes to complete, but to my surprise, we were able to just glide our way through the traffic up inside the top 30 as we would get past that 48 of Alex Bowman briefly now, as we had, I think, the 20 of Rajat Karuth on the far outside of this 3 wide battle right here with 22 laps to go. Elliott still out in front as we go down into turns 1, so he's looking very, very strong here now, but we've seen a common trend this season. A lot of times when it looks like someone's going to win a race, have been dominating, they end up not winning that race. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 9 of Chase Elliott ends up losing this race, to be honest with you guys. Now as behind us, the 78 of Justin Haley goes for a crash hard into the outside wall, the 1 of Gregson involved as well, and the caution comes out again here from Kentucky. A big hit right there for Justin Haley now, as he will be out of this race. I decided we're going to give up a bunch of track position on the pit lane and take 4 tires, because we need any advantage we can get if we're going to get a decent result here tonight and make up some points on that playoff cutoff line. So I decided, you know what, we're going to take 4 tires compared to everybody else taking 2, and hopefully in the long run that pays off. Ross Chastain now leading the way down into turns 1, as it appears Chase Elliott lost the lead there under the pit lane, or maybe he lost it just before that caution came out, I'm not sure, but now once again we have to work our way through the traffic that we had already spent some time working our way through, but we were slicing our way through once again. 3 wide here with the number 8 of Zane Smith and the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 2 Richard Childress Racing drivers now, as we have just 15 laps to go in this race as we cross the line. So not much time. Lewis Hamilton has taken the lead here late in this race. So all of a sudden, like I said, there's a trend where the guy that dominates seems to not be able to win these races. Well, Chase Elliott has lost the lead late in this race, and Lewis Hamilton finds himself in position to potentially win this race here in Kentucky Speedway. He's still looking for a second win on the season. He could easily have 3, 4, maybe even 5 wins already this season, but still only has 1, and that was at the Daytona 500. Now we found ourselves in a battle with Austin Cindric in the closing laps of this race, as we were coming up on 10 laps to go, trying to get ourselves up into 25th place. We're closing in on everybody in front of us, which is a nice confidence booster here, and I was hopeful we could get there in time to gain some crucial points, especially with the playoff situation that we find ourselves in. So we got clear of that 33 of Cindric, but with 10 to go, the caution comes out again. This time I consider this a good thing, because like I said, we were closing in on all of these drivers in front of us, and now, well, the caution just did the job for us. It has gotten us right to their back bumpers here for what could be the final restart on the night, as Daniel Hemrick looks like he has brought out the caution for that number 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing, as everybody stays out and gets ready to go green. It has been a pretty frustrating, miserable race for us here in our final ever trip to Kentucky Speedway for who knows how long, because obviously this track is not going to be in NASCAR 21 ignition. So as long as it's not on the Cup Series schedule, we don't know when we'll ever race at Kentucky again in our NASCAR heat, or just NASCAR gaming career mode in general. It could be the final time ever we race at this track, actually, for a career mode series. So now 3 wide down this back straightaway, getting as aggressive as I can. I took a bit of a risk there. I actually throttled up as I got onto the apron, just hoping that it would get me in front of these guys, and sure enough it did. Up into 22nd place, Kyle Larson finds himself up in the mix on the back bumper of Lewis Hamilton, and Kyle Larson would take the lead from Lewis Hamilton here in the final 5 laps of this race. He started in the back after failing optical scanning station multiple times, and here he is leading the way. So a car that failed inspection leading the way, not surprising to say the least now, but Hamilton would take the lead back and bring Chris Buescher with them to 2nd place. So Larson will drop down into 3rd place, and we're up into the top 20 finally. We're up into 18th place after passing our rival of Joey Logano, now coming to the final 2 laps of the day. Hamilton still leading the way. Larson back up into second, passing that 84 of Chris Buescher, but now we pass Kyle Busch for 17th place. We would get to the inside of the number 45, 2311 Racing driver of Derek Kraus as we were approaching the final lap. Hamilton still leading the way. Kyle Larson in second place was right on his back bumper though as they were coming through to start the final lap, and what a rebound we've had up into 16th place, the best we have run all night long other than when we stayed out at the beginning of stage 2 here as we go down into turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Hamilton looking for a second win on the season, but Kyle Larson takes the lead down the back straightaway over Lewis Hamilton, looking for redemption from Road America as they go down into turns 3 and 4 here on this final lap of the Quaker State 400, and Larson is clear of Lewis Hamilton out of turns 4, and for the first time this season for Gordon Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson will come through to win in Kentucky. We come through down the front straightaway, getting past the 21 of Alfredo to cross the line, and we have an incredible rebound on a frustrating race, a P15 finish. I will take that any day at Kentucky Speedway as Kyle Larson gets his first win on the season in the Quaker State 400, so he will be in the playoffs now. I don't know how that affects us because Larson, I know, was kind of around the bubble area, so it'll be interesting to see if we are actually further below the cut line or closer to the cut line here. Now, as in the next episode, we do have some truck racing coming back, as well as Xfinity Series will be going to Dover, and then on the Cup Series side of things, Larson, of course, now locked into the playoffs. That's the 9th different winner already, or actually 8th different winner that is now, as we are 27 points below the cut line. So we did gain a little bit of ground, but before we end it, I just want to look at the schedule. So we have Richmond coming up next. That could be a tough track for us, probably the toughest short track on the schedule for us. Then we have Atlanta, that's full throttle. That's going to be a tough one for our car. So there's a couple races here that I'm looking at that are going to be very tough. Talladega, of course, we could go and win. We could suck. Darlington's going to be tough. So there's a lot of tracks on the schedule that are definitely concerning. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode. And of course, want to thank the Going Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AG Vasseur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Daniel 9302, Speed Demon 341, Ellis Emery, as well as Jay Fitz. Thank you guys so much again for your support. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.